Yeah, okay, so yeah, intro. So, your real name, stream name, and what you do.
Hello everyone, my name is Leslie. My streamer name is... I am a content creator, streamer on YouTube, formerly on Twitch.
Streamer of the year, I better be nominated. That's fine. Oh, and he's like, can I get an autograph for my daughter? I signed an autograph for him.
Can you make the pig sound like...
You know how a pig does that sound? Teach me!
My childhood, pretty standard, I'd say. I have typical Asian parents. Go be a doctor, go get good grades, don't do drugs, don't drink, whatever, all that stuff. Very conservative and didn't play any games, had really minimal interest except for Pokemon. That was one big outlier. My gaming interest started when my brother got a Nintendo 64. And before he got home, I would find his Nintendo 64, put in Star Fox, and I'd replay only the first level over and over and over again because there was never time to get to the second level, and I'd see him getting off the bus and I'd turn off the N64, shove it back down and run away. I had a jaw issue called temporomandibular joint disorder, and so I started seeing a chiropractor at a really young age to like fix my jaw, and that really interested me. So then I was like, oh, I want to do what he does. So I started to like go down this path, which led me like, oh, I need to study science. So I applied to UC Irvine. My first year was relatively miserable because I had a boyfriend from high school into college. We came together to UC Irvine. We started like fighting really quickly because he had these dorm mates that I didn't click with right away. My first year getting adjusted to that was rough, but then we mended and then we became extremely studious. I realized I was getting better grades than almost everybody. So I was like, wait, if you guys are gonna be doctors, I can be a doctor too. So then I switched to pre-med. But then I realized how competitive it was, and also I need to be like spending all my free time at a hospital, getting hours in, and then the more I did that, I realized how much I didn't want to do it. And my third year in college, I switched to being a vet. I was like, well, I like the whole biology doctor aspect, but working with people seems too scary almost, like what if I kill somebody? So I decided that maybe I could go be a vet instead. And then my final quarter of UC Irvine, I was working in a vet hospital, and one of the vets said to me like, Leslie, I don't know if you'd make the best vet. You sure you want to do this? And I think hearing that from a vet directly woke me up. So I told my roommate, hey, I do not want to be a vet anymore. And she's like, Leslie, it's your last quarter of UC Irvine. Like, you have to pick something. And I was like, oh God, you're right. I just studied for 4 years. Like, I have to do something with science. And at that time, I had been in part of this program called SPOP at UC Irvine. Basically, you go through orientation to teach incoming freshmen, like the class to take, give them tours of the campus. And I realized from that, you know what, I'm gonna go be a teacher. So I decided on my last quarter of UC Irvine, I'm gonna switch, become a teacher. So I took a year off after college. And in that year, I decided to live with one of my friends from SPOP named Raymond. And he introduced me to League of Legends.
Ah, no.
And from there, I could not stop. I got like hooked after 10 games. I became so interested in like the fact that there's these pro players that play this game.
Zeus looks for Q3. Zeka goes in with a soul and a zero ulti, but it ain't gonna do a whole lot. They still got a little bit of damage, but it is not enough. Barrel's gonna die, Depth is gonna die. T1 will find the fight and find the win in game one.
And then I played so much League until I found Counter-Strike. I had this whole incident with this pro named Dazed who was like flaming me, and I went on his stream and we started arguing, and then I was like, wait, I love this. So I started playing FPS games, took me to H1Z1, whole thing, found Summit 1G, got super interested in gamers, like streamers from there. I modded for Summit, and then watched him play H1Z1. And then PUBG, he started to play, I went into PUBG. So my chat's like, you should try Life is Strange. So boom, I started playing single player games, and then The Last of Us, my all-time favorite single player game, played that, fell in love with that one. And then single player to everything else. Animal Crossing came out, Among Us came out, and then, I mean, every other game ever, I just started playing. I took piano lessons when I was young. My mom signed me up for like this teacher who's like really intense, and Miss Jensen. I remember just like very intensely having to practice curve your fingers every single freaking day. I was playing piano, and I rejected it so much because I just didn't want to learn. Then in 7th grade, I needed to take an elective, and I was like, I'll take B choir. I don't want to audition for anything. So from there, I kind of started singing, and I remember liking it. And I was like, oh, you can kind of control the sounds that come out of your mouth. This is interesting. And this movie called High School Musical came out. And that movie like sparked something in me in terms of like singing. I loved the music so much. And I actually met a girl in my choir class who loved it too, just as much. And her name was Robin. And we became best friends, and we would sing the harmonies to Breaking Free together and started something new. And then we met a girl named Lily. We all auditioned together for an advanced choir the next year. We all made it in. I met a girl named Allison, and us four became a quartet, and we loved to sing together. Allison one day came up to us and was like, do you want a Christmas carol? And we're like, yeah, let's do it, door to door. Like, how fun would that be? So us four started learning harmonies for like Silent Night, Hark the Herald Angels Sing, and then we would literally go door to door knocking and like, hey, can we sing a Christmas carol? We dressed in Santa hats, and we would sing a song for anyone who would listen, and it was really cute. It was actually one of the most cherished memories. We ended up in our like town paper where they wrote an article about us. Our choir teacher saw it, was like, oh my gosh, we're in the newspaper. That led to us wanting to keep singing throughout the summers and stuff, but there's no Christmas caroling. So we decided to go sing at convalescent homes for the elderly. So we started learning songs from the 30s, 40s, 50s. They'd like wheelchair all the old people out, and we would start singing songs from their childhood. And we would watch them literally like perk up and start like dancing. And at the end, they'd like, how do you know this song? And we're like, oh, yeah, we just like learned it. And they're like, it's amazing. It was so cute. That leads us to streaming, because I graduated college 2014. I started streaming in 2015, and I'm bored after playing League of Legends, and then I'm like, I can sing a song, and then I like would sing. And I remember being so nervous. I sang I Want It That Way by the Backstreet Boys on stream. I was shaking. I think there's like a clip somewhere of me literally like you can hear my voice shaking as I'm like trying to sing it. And it was like, I've never sang in front of people. I had like 34 viewers. And I'm like, holy shit, I have 34 people just watching me sing. When you're sitting in front of a camera, you don't really feel like the difference between 34 viewers and like 100, and then 100 to 200, 200 to 500, 500 to 1,000 to 1,000 to like 2,000 to 5,000 to 7,000. So as I was growing, I would still just do my singing streams. Then I realized people started to like associate me with music and singing, and I'd get all these cool opportunities to sing for things. Through GTA, I actually got to like meet a ton of like legit artists, producers who were like, hey, let's work together. So I started working with people who like have legit serious musical experience. There's a whole social group of people, of friends, very similar to me, that we all bonded together from the very beginning. We all have similar interests. We all kind of like merged together and grew as a collective. And one of those people is Lily, and she heavily inspired me to like keep singing, and she'd invite me over and over, like, don't worry, just sing, just do this thing. You know, she'd inspire me to like write more music, even little lines of stuff. From there, I guess I just kept going and kept doing it. And then now we're here and working with like really talented people. I still feel like a complete fraud in like when I do music. A lot of the people I met back then in 2015, right when I started streaming, like when I had literally 10 viewers, I met Jamie back then, Kimmy, Janet, Pokey, Lily, Box. These people are still my really good friends. I met them when I literally had 15 to 20 viewers. I remember I was like sitting next to Lily in 2015, and I was like, it's Lily, like next to me. And I was like, wow, you know, to go from that to like seeing a lot of them as my peers, crazy experience. And to see how many of them were just willing to give. They see me and they're like, come over and I'll stream with me, sing with me. So I really will always be very appreciative to them for giving me those chances. We all saw something in each other, and then when I was able to like grow bigger as a streamer, it felt really great to also give people that opportunity to like help them grow. And I see a lot of the reason why so many of us are successful, because we all saw something in each other, and we're always like pushing each other to do better. I had been really eyeing this streamer named Quarter Jade. And she's a small streamer, but I was like, this girl has got it. She's like so talented, and she's just got this light. And Albert was like, why don't we do like Camp Albert for like smaller streamers? I was like, yeah, that's an amazing idea. So I was like, well, we have Jody, we've got Stefan, and he's like, well, there's this one guy that he's a really small streamer, probably pulls like 3 or 4 viewers, no cam, but I swear he's hilarious. I was like, okay, show me a stream. And I was like, Albert, he's not even talking. He's like, no, I swear this guy's so funny though. And I was like, you know what? If you vouch, let's go. And then I was just becoming good friends with Peter. Peter was also a super small streamer at the time. He was a friend of Edison's from college, and he had been like somebody we were hanging out with like once every month or two. We invited 2 more friends, Jana, who's like a DJ now, and this girl named Vicky. But we came up with a roster and invited them all to this thing called Streamer Camp. It was this janky thing on a backpack, but there was something magical about it. The magic behind it was the people being brought together. John and Jody met there. Peter also like pretty much met them there. I brought a lot of the things I learned from college, specifically SPOP, where I like did the same thing. Basically what I did with freshmen, I did with the Streamer Camp kids, staying up late and talking, bouncing ideas back off of each other. There's something about staying up really late with your friends and having these like talks, like late night talks, waking up groggy next to each other, like, hey, warning, like it's a bonding experience. It's like this thing where you invite these people that you've wanted to meet online, and then they're in front of you all of a sudden, and you're like really kind of vibe checking each other, like, oh, we get along, like we really get along. Me and Broden, first time I ever talked to him pretty much was Streamer Camp. I was washing my face the first night, and I come down and Broden's there, and we end up talking for like 3 hours, or like, I'm just rinsing my face. I remember, I'm like, wow, I've really pushed this in for a while. And we just started talking about life, and I'm like, I really like this guy. He is awesome. And that's how he also got introduced to offline TV and everything. So it's crazy to like feel the impact of like a project I've done and see it like make waves in the community and see them grow on their own and see how talented they are. And there's something about that. It feels very special. I started to notice that I had a really strong community vibe in 2016. They all worked together to like send me a piano and like a really heartfelt book of like pictures and letters. I didn't really realize it. Like I thought, oh, this is sweet, but I was assuming everyone's community was like that. But I started to realize like people would look at me as like the community streamer.
Leslie's personality is the reason why you watch Leslie. Doesn't matter what she plays. Doesn't matter what she does. Doesn't matter the videos she's making. If she's herself, it's going to be entertaining.
Something that happened in 2018 was that my channel grew a lot, from 500 to like 1,500 viewers, which is a lot of people showing up every day. I started to lose a sense of like, where is everybody? I couldn't recognize every single name in my chat anymore. And I made a second channel called Alpaca Girl 92 to like find it again.
And that's when I like posted on Twitter. I was like, oh guys, I don't know what to do. And then I was like, you know what? I feel like if I streamed on Alpaca Girl, people who really cared would come to Alpaca Girl. Like, I'm really happy that you guys are here, and I really love you guys. I'm like, legit. I'm like, yeah, I really needed this to see familiar names, and yeah. I don't feel as embarrassed crying because you guys have seen me cry so many times.
But somewhere along the lines, I started to realize like I can still grow and still have that. Yes, I can't be as personable with everybody, but I can still bring that community vibe. I was getting like 1 or 2 hate comments back then. Now there's like obsessive stan accounts who tweet hate things at me all the time, DM me, my friends all the time, psychoanalyzing who we're talking to, who they think we're dating. That's a new level of, you know, stuff that we have to deal with now. In 2015, someone came up to me and was like, hi, Leslie. And I was like, not interested, sorry. And they're like, no, I watch your streams. I was like, oh, I thought you were like selling me something. Back then, there was no expectation to be great. It's just turn on the camera for whoever is there. So many people have been like, Leslie, you're so great, or you nominated for Content Creator of the Year alongside like Dream and all these people. You know, I've been on stages, I'm friends with so many of these creators that are so talented, and the pressure to almost live up to what I've done or to what people think I'm capable of is what makes it now like, oh, this is a job. This isn't like, turn it on and whatever happens, happens. No one's watching anyway. I think about it like if I'm writing a book, no one thinks I'm an author. It doesn't matter what I write. If I've released 17 bestsellers, now my 18th, I'm like, people are going to read this. People are going to see it. I have to be good. And now almost like that pressure to be good is taking away from the creative process. The pressure to keep up and never be able to slow down is the single most stressful part of streaming. You want to take a break? You want to go somewhere? No, you can't, because everyone around you is going and you're falling off. by the way. You're irrelevant by the time you come back if you're not streaming. So you can't take those 2 weeks off. Or sometimes I'm with my friends and we're like, we could stream this. You guys want to stream? Yeah, sure, let's stream. And then we'll just start the stream up, right? And our private moments just became content now. I think when you find the people that have a similar idea of what is personal to us, like my roommates and I, we kind of know when we're hanging out, it's our downtime. The type of things we can talk about, that's for us, and we'll never mention it. But there has been like a lot of things like I'll talk about with my friends, and then the next day the people are streaming and then they're just dropping everything we mentioned. And that is a whole thing, like a level of friendship, mixing friendship and business that most people don't deal with. I was engaged and a big issue became like, oh, he brought me flowers for content or for me? Where is that line? And that became a huge tension for our relationship at points. And we'd fight all the time, like on the way to stream the farmer's market because one of us wasn't in the mood to stream all of a sudden. So I think that for my own sanity and for every other creator's sanity, you have to find those pockets that are yours and yours only. People are trying to access the parts of your life that you want for yourself to keep yourself feeling like not just a display at the zoo. They'll see us as like a TV show. This is I come home and I watch this person. I want to know everything about this person. I get that, but for our own mental, like we gotta like have our own moments too and stuff that we don't share. So I think the pressure of growing so much and so many people wanting in makes me almost want to hide more at times. So I think this is where the mental, like, what do I share? What do I not? People who are like, hey, peace, I need a month off to myself. That's where it comes from. GTA and Among Us were the biggest games of my career. Those were two things that I realized where my forte lies. It's actually, like, if you look at the commonalities between them, it's that they're both social games versus, like, Overwatch. H1Z1. Even my best clips from all of those came from the way I would interact with people. The era of collaboration between every content creator on planet Earth. So much drama, so much stuff happened, careers being born left and right, views skyrocketing, everyone's becoming millionaires. It was craziness. It changed the meta of how streamers stream. I got to really meet new creators, people that I like kind of knew. Now I'm like gaming with them 3 times a week, 4 times a week. I'm also gaining a ton of confidence in myself as a creator because my number one fear used to be like public speaking, getting up in front of people. Like when you have low levels of self-confidence, the last thing you want to do is get up in front of people and have 40 people stare at you. And you know, I sometimes think about it, I'm like, that's what I do for a living. I just go up there and people talk. I'm sitting in front of cameras. I'm on like Mogul Money in front of like 5,000 people live. Like it's been awesome to like see myself grow and remember vividly how I felt about certain situations that I am in now and look at it completely different because of all of my past experiences. You know, when Among Us kind of died down, people still wanted to play a lot together and the Rust server happened. Every creator just jumped on it. Collaboration then happened more. I met some people who then, on that server, who then invited me to play GTA. And GTA was a whole nother similar confidence building experience for me. Being able to like do that and then play that for a year, make all new friends through that game who are like the funniest people I ever met, making content I never thought I was capable of, making content that I realized like I'd look back on and be like, that was really funny. And like being proud of my content. And then getting nominated for like GTA RP Streamer of the Year at the Streamer Awards alongside XQC Buddha and Saikuno. I felt like, why do I belong here? That's crazy. I became like the biggest female content creator for GTA at one point, right? And it felt like, how? Like I'm just new at this and people loved it. I think that was a massive confidence boost for me as well. Even at TwitchCon just now, signing autographs as April. They're like, sign as April FUSLiE, please. I love you. I love your role play. And I'm like, okay, you don't even want me to sign as me. For me, that was a huge confidence boost to like feel confident for once like in my content because Among Us was great, but a lot of it was like, maybe I'm only popular because my friends are popular. Maybe I'm only getting views because people want to see me play with these bigger streamers. So a lot of that was like me doubting myself and my ability as a creator, being like, maybe it's not me, maybe it's just by association. Sometimes I feel jealous that like some people get into the space really early. I still feel that like, oh, you're like so young and you're already like, you know what you want to do. And meanwhile, I'm studying neuroscience, advanced biochemistry when I'm 21 for no reason. Like sometimes I get mad at myself for wasting that time But then I realized like all of that led me to where I am now. And I try not to view it as like wasted time. I remember when I was first getting into streaming, I was starting to see some traction. People would ask me like, would you ever become a full-time streamer? And I was like, no, absolutely not. I just spent 4 years like working my ass off. Why am I gonna throw all that suffering away to stream? I didn't need to do any of that. Like, I'm gonna use it. I rejected the idea of streaming even when I was seeing success in it. Just because you have committed to something does not mean you need to keep committing to it. Just because you studied math or science for 4 years doesn't mean that when you get out of it, you have to commit the rest of your life to what you studied or what you thought you wanted to do 4 years ago, because you are going to keep changing as a person. You're going to meet new people, new things that stimulate your mind, interest you. Just enjoy the ride. Don't stress about networking, all this stuff. Don't worry about that stuff. Just really enjoy what you're doing and push through the moments that you might want to give up on. You're going to meet so many incredible people and have such an incredible ride. Don't worry too much about the future or the past. Just enjoy it.
I wanted to be a doctor growing up. No, I didn't. That was a lie. I just lied.
How do we feel about Steve O.T.?
Steve-O. Coming for you.
All right, I think that's it. I think that's all.
That's it.
Yeah, that's good. That was great.